My name is Musa Shezi. We are going to be taking you on a debate on whether investors should consider the Network Readiness Index to invest into a specific country. We are going to be talking about South Africa. We know that the Network Readiness Index ranks, they rank how different economies prepared for the ICTs, so how they use it to their full capabilities.
I will be opposing the motion. I do not take NRI rankings into consideration, being they do not cover what is exactly happening in the countries individually. They just look at the overall global view.
Well, Kabelo, isn't it fair enough that they gather Network Readiness Index results by breaking into different categories that will touch all pillars? Let's say they play the bigger role in gathering how the country is doing in making sure that they utilize the full capabilities of the ICTs.
I do not think it's a wise idea to invest in South Africa. As you see, there are major changes. Major changes actually happen when there are big events. When we look at the World Cup, the 2010 Soccer World Cup, that's when we saw that okay, the country was kind of ready to utilize the ICT resources, but overall it hasn't really done much.
Okay, I think you do not understand the Network Readiness Index rankings. That they take into consideration the environmental factors and such as the politics, the regulatory, and the business, the innovation, to see how the country is doing on the ICT. So it also considers the ICT's readiness of the country by looking at the infrastructure, the affordability, and the skills they have to use the ICT properly. So they calculate who exactly is using and put more effort on the utilization, and it can also affect the individuals and the businesses and the government. Do you know
that? This still does not make sense to me, as they do not touch some of the weaknesses that happen within the country. As we know that the government, when looking at the rankings, the government usage was kind of still remain the same, mainly because of other issues like corruption that is happening. NRIs can show some form of bias in some cases where you realize that the high income countries are well represented in the ranking.
Well, the Network Readiness Index shows the gaps where the country can improve to fully utilize the technology and revolution. Like looking to South Africa's ICT's readiness last year and to this year, South Africa improved on the ICTs as they went from the 85th position to the 44th position, and the affordability and the cost of the ICT went from 109 to 74 position, which shows a very good opportunity for investors to actually invest into South Africa. This increases the use of ICTs because the people who afford by it also increases the social impact.
Do you really think that NRI is a measure of economic progress when we still have 60% of the population inside South Africa that is not online, and we have like 450 people who are also not connected? You look at the Europeans have for their high rates of people who are connected because of affordability, less than 1%. When you look at the ranks, you see that the Europeans spend less than 1% of their revenue on being online, and the Asians too spend very low percentages. As in Africa, where you see a lot of people's income is spent on ICT resources, which also impedes in terms of adoption, because if it's expensive, then it's not easy for us to adopt.
Well, all this is predicted by the Network Readiness Index rankings. I can see that South Africa did not do well this year, and in policy and the regulatory environment and the innovation. And last year they were in the 31st position, but this year they are on the 33rd position, solely because the government did not take part on the policymakers and the regulatory needs. So we as as investors need to adopt the long-term investments to address this challenge by investing on the infrastructure, which we have already improved on, and education as well. The regulation that will increase, and that will create more opportunities to take up South Africa to be on top of the Network Readiness Index rankings.
Well, it is very hard for me if I was an investor to invest in a country that still hasn't allocated enough revenue towards improving the level of ICT. Yes, I do agree that in terms of business-wise, that really helped South Africa to move up the rankings. But there hasn't been much of the government involvement. Yes, we see the private sector did a good job, but there's still a whole lot of job to be done by the government.
Well, that is why we need to invest in the country, not only for productivity, but because we understand that the ICT is the catalyst of social and economic transformation, and it enhances the connectivity and the kickstarts of businesses, and it creates employment, and lastly changes the way in which population can communicate and interact. So all these will make South Africa on top of the Network Readiness Index rankings.
Well, this is a very long debate, and there's a short time, but thank you for listening to our video, and wish there was more time to actually debate on this very interesting issues of the NRI. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.